started here. So what I wanted to talk about here in our opening live stream is to just talk about a couple of basic stuff. So I'm going to open up a file here in my REVIT, and I just want to talk about some really basic stuff that comes up every time I teach REVIT, and that is just being able to select and trim and extend and do some regular editing with ducts and pipes and conduit and cable tray and stuff like that. And this would work really with beams as well as walls. So right now in this little demo, I'm kind of doing this with pipes and ducts and conduit and cable tray. But we could probably do this with walls and beams too. So I just want to demonstrate in here. I've just got some pipes sitting here, and if we go to a 3D view, you can kind of see there's those pipes over here. And I just want to talk about trimming and extending. You can see they're at different elevations, kind of floating around there. Okay, and you can do some of this trimming and extending in a 3D view, but it's always easier to do it in a 2D view. So if I go to my floor plan here and I look at these pipes, I've pre-tagged them with elevations and stuff. And I believe if I pick on this one, it's the same. So I'm going to say tag this guy too. I don't want a leader line, so I'm going to. So these are at 9 feet. This is also at 9 feet. These are at 6 feet, etc. So I just want to talk about the trim and extend tools in here first of all. So trim, you can use this normal trim tool, and these are both at 9 feet, so that's pretty easy to do a trim like that. If I hit escape and then undo, it's just going to trim it. Now I can trim these two, and these are at different elevations. If I trim these two, notice I'll trim them by picking these edges. It's also going to put the riser in here going from 9 feet to 6 feet, right? If I go to a 3D view, it's automatically going to add that in for me if I do an undo. Okay, and undo that again. So if I trim these two here, notice I can't do it in a 3D view here. What if I switch my angle over to here and try to trim them? Still not quite working, right? But if I go to a floor plan and I do a trim, it will actually let me trim these that way. And if I do an undo, hit escape, and I trim this way, then it's going to go that way. Okay, undo. So we can do normal corner trimming. Then we can use this guy in here, which is single trim with edge and element. So I'm going to pick on this guy, and what I can do there is, notice these are at 9 feet and 6 feet. So this is at 9. I'm going to extend that to there. It's going to put the riser in. I'm going to pick this again, pick here. Okay, pick here, 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 here. Okay, so that's putting risers in because they're at different elevations. Hit escape, do an undo. Okay, I can also go like this, do a trim, okay? And if I pick on here, I cannot do multiple, right? So I'm going to use this guy. Watch. Trim, extend, multiple. Pick this edge. Now I can go one by one, or I can actually just do a crossing box and do all of these at the same time. Click out. Pick this guy. Pick this guy. Pick these guys, right? Pick this guy. Pick these guys. Look what it does. Trim to here, these guys. Notice this one draws the riser. This one does nothing because it doesn't go that far. So you can extend things to here even though they don't intersect. Okay, hit escape, doing an undo on that. So you can trim and extend, trim, single and multiple, and you can use your crossing and window box as well. Now that works with ducts as well. So same thing, trim. Okay, I could trim this guy and this guy. Okay, now because they're different elevations, it's going to build that riser for me. Okay, that's at 4 feet, that's at 9 feet. Undo that back. Okay, same thing. I can do multiple edges. Pick this. Doesn't matter which edge I pick. I can pick both of these and they'll both extend. Click out. Okay. Do this again. Pick this. Oh, nothing pointing towards them. Let's do this one. Pick here, this edge, both of these. Right? Even though it won't extend this, but it extends it to the middle. Okay, same as, let's go over here to conduit. Same thing. I can do a normal trim. Trim these two. Trim these two. Okay, now because they're at different elevations, it put a riser in there for me, right? Hit escape, go to a 3D view. There's my conduit over there. When I extended them out, notice conduit need the big lazy bends, right? So I extended this to here and it put in all of this. It built this here for me when I extended this. Okay, back to here. Same, I can extend this and then I can say extend, this to here. Okay, or I can say multiple, pick this and pick this and this. Right? Hit escape. Oops, escape, and it's going to put that box in there. And because they're at different elevations, it's going to take care of that. We can also do a trim. Watch. Trim. Pick this as my edge, and I can pick this, and it'll trim that. Or if I pick this, it'll extend it. So this is trim and extend all been built into one. Okay, I'll do that one again. I can even use my crossing box. Watch. Trim. This is my edge. Do this, and it'll trim those. Okay? Click out to clear it. Do it again. Pick here. Pick this. Pick out to clear it. Pick this. Pick this. Pick out to clear it. Pick this. Pick this. Pick out to clear it. Pick this. Pick this. So it'll trim or extend. When you want to re-pick your edge, pick nothing. And then it starts over. Okay, so that's the other little trick with these guys. Is if you don't have to go back and keep picking this in between. You pick on here. Okay. Pick an edge. Do these two. And when you're done with that, pick nothing. Now you can pick a new edge again and extend it. Pick nothing. Pick a new edge. Trim it. Pick nothing to clear it out. So you've got to clear it, you can loop through these commands without reselecting them by clearing your selection in between. Okay, and that works the same over here with cable tray. Cable tray need a lot of bends, right? So same thing, extend to here, this. Now it's going to give you a little warning with cable tray because it just kind of will build that. Okay, but at the same time, with that cable tray, it built it in, but it doesn't really have the fittings, so it just kind of drops it off and T-bones that off. Okay, back to here again. Same thing with this. Multiple extend to here, both of these guys. Okay, they're at the same elevation. Click out, so it built those in there for me, right? Oh, look what it did. Beautiful, right? Okay, escape, escape. Now, if you want to swivel, pick something first, then shift middle mouse. So look at this. I extended this to here. So it built all of this here for me. It put the T in, okay, because they're flat. It's not coming down on top of it. And there wasn't enough elevation to get two full 90s in here, so it did two 45s. Okay, let's get rid of this. Delete these guys. Okay, watch. Okay, trim these two back together. Trim. Let me turn this volume down here. Okay. So now I've healed these two back together. Now watch, if I drop this down to say 0. Okay, now let's see if I extend it. Extend to here, this. Oh, you see, there you go. It didn't try, it did it, but it had enough room, interestingly enough. See that? If it has enough room, it'll curve it right up. If it doesn't have enough room, it put two 45s in there and then puts in a T instead that way. So this is when it doesn't have enough room to get the 90 in here. Needs enough room to get that in and get that next piece up there. So trimming and extending, pretty much the same, works with duct, pipe, conduit, and cable tray, and walls and beams as well. So I just wanted to cover that. Next thing I want to talk about is just some selecting tips, and then we'll get into some custom family stuff before we go. So in here, I want to talk about selecting. So first of all, you can select, and when you select, something else disappears, right? If you hold your control button in, you can pick more than one option at a time. If you hold your shift key in, it removes it. So control adds, shift removes. Now you can also click out to clear your selection, or you can click the modify tool to clear it. Then you can window or crossing. Crossing is anything it touches. Window means it has to be inside completely. If it's not 100% inside, it won't get selected. Crossing to the left means it just has to touch it. That's all it has to do. So you could window all this, hold your shift key in, and do a crossing and remove that. So I'm removing objects with the crossing box. Then I can control add back with the crossing box, or add with the window box. So adding, removing with window or crossing. And when I'm done with it, I can then pick on it and delete it or move it or do whatever I want with it. So selecting objects is a big thing. You can also use your tab key. So if there's a bunch of stuff even really busy all in one little spot where you can't really see, when it's like this maybe, you can go like this, tab, 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 and it'll cycle through different things in the area first of all. So tab key on the keyboard will tab through. Okay. Next thing is that you can just hover and tab. So hover, tab, tab. You see, that'll tell me that's all connected. Hover, tab, 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 click. Now it's selected. Now I can move it or do whatever I want with it. Okay. So you can hover tab, and that'll chain select through. Then you can use your control and your shift to remove and add, and then click out. You can also do a pinch between two objects. So let's say I want to go from this elbow over to this elbow. So pick the first one, hover here, tab, and then click, and it'll pick between those 2 points. And then you can do what you want with it, right? So let's go over here to our pipes. Or let's something a little more connected here, or ducts. Watch, pick this duct, okay? Hover over here, tab, click, and it'll pick between those 2 points. And this is all one segment, so it's going to pick all of that, right? I could pick this elbow, hover near this elbow, tab, click, and it'll pick the segments that are between those 2 points. Okay, go over to here. Okay, pick this piece. Okay, pick this piece, hover over this, hover, tab, click, and it'll pick between those 2 points, right? So pick this junction box, hover near here, tab, click, or pick on here, hover, tab, click. It'll pinch between those 2 points. And then after that, you can do a control or whatever you want with your selecting, tabbing. If you want to select the previous elements you just did, you can right click and say select previous, and it'll just remember that, right? So right click, select previous, and then move, delete, copy, whatever you want. You can also pick on something, for instance, like this, and right click and say select all instances either in the view or in the project, and it'll grab them all. When you do, look down to the right and it'll show you down here there's 4 elements. So I know there's 4 of these in the project, right? If I pick this little elbow, and I right click and say select all instance in the entire project, and I click on here, it's going to show me all those, and it's telling me there's 14 of them. Okay, you can also go down into here and go into, for instance, conduit fitting, and then pick an elbow of your choice inside of here. Right click and say select all instances in the entire project, and in that case there's 0. So which one is this? This is the conduit fitting without fitting RNC standard. Conduit fitting elbow without fitting RNC standard. I think it's this guy right here. I can right click on here and say select all instances in the entire project, and see it's telling me there's those 14 elbows. So you can right click from here and select them and see if there's any in the project, in just the view or the entire project. So that's your choice in here. So another way of selecting from the browser. And then we have saved selection sets I want to talk about. So let's say I pick some objects. Let's go, I go hover, tab, 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 click, and I grab all those objects. And I know I'm going to want to select them again another day. So I go up to the top here and I say save. I'm going to save this and call it, conduit 001 or whatever I want to give it a descriptive name, right? And then hit OK. And that's it. That's a saved selection set. So now I can go away for the weekend, come back, save my file, open it up, come back, literally come back and reopen the file another day. And I can go back to manage now, and I can recall that by going to selection load. And I can say, go grab that selection and hit OK, and it'll remember it. Kind of like a block in a way. And then I can go move it or change it or do whatever I want. So whenever you go through and you hand pick something, and you grab a bunch of stuff, and then you go control and you window and you take your time to grab some things, and then you want to say, boy, that took a while, I wish I could retain this, you can by saving it and call it selection cable tray 2 or cable tray 1, and that's it. Save my file, close it, go away, come back a couple of days later, and I say, oh, I want to grab those objects again. I can go load and go grab that, and it'll grab it. Okay, you can also edit and modify it. So I can say edit, and I can go down to here and say grab this and say edit. And now it's kind of ghosted. You can see you have these guys over here. Can't pull this down. So you can add and remove. It's like a group. So I can say add this and this and this. Now that's part of that selection set, and I save and finish and hit OK. Again, I go away for the weekend. I come back. I want those objects. I go to my manage. I go to selection here under manage, and then I say load, and I go grab that revised version, and there it is there. If I don't like it, I can say edit, hit this again, edit, and then remove. Remove this and this and this and this, and remove those objects, and then finish. So it's like a group, really. It's a selection set, which is very much like a group, and then hit OK. And then if I want to get it back, here I go, load, grab it. Now I have the newly modified one. So saved selection sets is my next little thing I wanted to talk about. Now the next thing good is talking a little bit, changing the subject to custom families. Now if I go over to here, looking for a chat to see any indication on any chatting that is going on. If any, let's go over to here, live stream. Current viewers, well, it looks like there is someone in there at least, so I'm going to carry on, of course. So the next thing I want to talk about is custom families and materials and parameters, a great lesson. So let me just close this file. And let me just do a save as to keep it. Demo complete. And then let me close this off, and then let me go to the next lesson, which is a little more for advanced people. This is some of the stuff we talked about here that, to me, everyone should know, and a lot of people don't know. So let me go file and close this off. And now I'm going to open up another file here called... No, I'm just going to make a new, yes, I'm just going to make a new file. So new empty project. And I'm going to use the Imperial architectural template. So empty file, and I'm going to take a family in there and modify it. Really cool example. So I'm going to use my architectural template. And from here, in this file, there is a family that's a desk. That's all I'm going to use here. And if you go to furniture, there's this little desk in here, and I'll just drag it in. Use my space bar to rotate it around, hit escape, escape. Okay, go to my 3D view, and there's my desk. So this desk is just a family that comes with Revit. You could load it yourself, but it comes in this template file already there. So what I want to do here in this example is I'm going to change this family. I'm going to go SD on the keyboard for shade. And I'm going to make it so that I can have optional knobs, basically knobs on these 6 locations. So I'm going to have knob 1 style and knob 2. And I also want to be able to change the materials of them. And I also want to change the material of this top. Right now it's kind of hard-coded to be a material here. Top material is set to be cherry, and I can go change it in here, but it's type selected. I want to be able to change it individually instead of changing the type. So we're going to have materials a little bit different on here. And I'm going to have different optional knobs where I'm going to be able to pick on here and say knob 1 or 2, and then knob material, and then desk material. So what I'm going to do is start by clicking on this element and saying edit family. Boom. Now I'm in the family editor. Okay. It's got all the little parts. So I'm going to do a save as right away. I'm going to put it in my folder here, and I'll just call it, desk with knobs. Knob options. Okay. Desk with knob options. So different family. So these guys, I'm just going to take them and delete them. That's just built in, those handles, which are an array. So get rid of those to start with. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is now I'm going to make a new nested family, which is going to represent the little knobs, and load them in here. So watch. File, new family. And it's going to be Imperial English, and it's going to be a face-based, because I want it to stick to the faces here. So technically I want it to be furniture family, but I'm going to use face-based so that it'll stick. So watch. Generic model face-based. Here. That's important. Okay, good. New family. Now I'm going to draw something very quick. I'm going to create a little doorknob. I'm going to go to the front view, and I'm going to create a sweep. No, a revolve. Draw a revolve, and it's going to be really easy. I'm going to go up by about, 2 inches. And over by, 1.5 inches or so. Down a little bit, over, down, and over. Okay, then I'm going to draw my axis line up the middle. Escape. Okay, then I'm going to hit finish. That's my doorknob. So that's my revolve. If I go to my 3D view, close my hidden down, Okay, there's my little knobby dude. That's it. So I'm going to go save. Actually, before I do a save, I'm going to add some parameters in here. So it'll be in my new one as well. So watch, I'm going to go into here. I'm going to make a new parameter called knob material. Okay, and the key here is I have to say material. It's a material parameter. Okay, and I'm going to make it instance. So there's the name, material instance, hit OK. Then make another one. And it's going to be called knob type. Actually, no, knob type doesn't belong in here, just the material. Okay, so knob material is the only parameter in here. Click OK. Now what I have to do is just pick on this element and make its material be the parameter here, the little button, knob material. So it's unassigned but linked to a parameter. So the material of this sweep or this revolve, the material of the revolve is set to be the parameter knob material, and it's undefined. Click out, okay, and save. Now I'm going to do a save at, well, this is called knob 1. That's the family. Okay, now I'm going to do a save as, file, save as, family, and call it knob 2. Okay, and the only difference is in the knob 2, okay, because I already tied the link here to the parameter, I'm just going to modify the shape. So I'm going to say edit the revolve, go to the front view, and all I'm going to do is make it a little different shape, get rid of this, and pull this guy back to about there, get rid of this. Okay, draw an arc from here to here maybe, and then maybe even draw an arc down like this. Okay, and then get rid of this guy. Okay, now watch. I hit finish, click out, makes a shape like that, go to my 3D view. Okay, there's my second knob. Okay, save it. Okay, now I'm taking knob 2. I'm going to close down my windows. Okay, knob 2, and load it into my project. Load it into project desk. Okay, and as I load it in, I can go place one. I can just randomly place it there, hit escape, escape. Now it went facing the wrong way, so I'm going to click on here and turn that around. See that? It went to the other plane. Okay, now I'm going to take my knob 2. Oh, it's not open, so let's go back file and let's go grab knob 2 and load it in. Oh, file knob 1, sorry. Okay, take this guy and load that into the project and load it into my desk project. Okay, and then I can stick one on there, escape, escape. It goes the wrong way, I can flip it around. So there's my 2 different knobs, right? So what I'm going to do is this. I'm just going to get rid of this one. It doesn't matter which one I do. I'm going to hit delete. Watch. I'm going to go to the front now. Now I'm going to position them, right? So I'm going to align to here, this, and then align, escape. Now I'm going to take this guy and move it on up. I should have had another center line in there, but that's okay. And then for now, I'm going to take that and then just copy it down to, you know, anywhere straight down. Escape. Okay, then I'm going to take this guy and say create similar. Give me another one of these. Snap it to here. Click. Escape, escape. It's on the wrong, I got to flip it around to this side. There you go. So take it, get it in position. Okay, and then take this and then copy that from here to here to here to here. Okay, so now I have those positioned on there. Now I'm going to align and lock them. Watch. So I'm going to say align multiple. Okay, align multiple. This. I'm going to go this guy, lock it. This guy, lock it. This guy, lock it. This guy, lock it. Click out to clear my selection. Here, this guy, lock it. Here, this guy, lock it. So they're locked to the center lines of those. Okay, let's go to my 3D view and let's try. Yeah, okay, so let's do a little save here. And now I'm going to make a parameter in here. Make a new parameter called knob type. And it's instance. And this is the clincher. This has to say family type. And I have to name this to be furniture. Here. And hit OK. And OK. Oh, you see now, I forgot to change these. They were originally made generic face-based. No furniture families loaded. Would you like to load one? I'm going to say no for now because I missed a step. That's okay. Hit apply, hit OK. Now watch. Pick on this guy. Go back and reverse engineer and say edit family. So go back into here. And what I'm going to do in here is this needs to be furniture. Oops, hit escape. This is generic model because that's the template I use. But I can go back in here after and say, no, you are furniture, and then save it. Okay. Missed step there, and then load it in the project into my desk and overwrite everything. Yes. Okay, now clear out. I have to do the same with my other one. So where's my knob 2? Here it is, or my knob 1. So in my knob 1, I'm going to go to here, change it from generic to furniture. Hit OK. That's the category. Save it. Okay, load that into my desk family. Okay, good. Overwrite existing. So now what happens is this. If I go into here and it says, oh, one more step. In here, I need to pick on this little guy and change the label to be knob type. Oh, I didn't make, let's go in here. It didn't get made because I didn't have any loaded. Knob type, okay, and then this says family type, and then I have to go in here, and because I didn't have any furniture, it didn't complete, so furniture, hit OK. Now it's going to work. Okay, and the default is knob 2. Hit apply, hit OK. So if I pick on this, I'm going to change the label of this to be knob type on all of these. Okay, knob type. So now, if I go up to here and I change my knob type to be knob 1 and hit apply, I get knob 1. If I change this to say knob 2, done and done. Click out. Now I'm going to make a couple more material properties. So I'm going to go into here, make a new property called knob 1 material, or just knob material. Watch. Okay, and instance. Now this has to be material. And okay, it's going to get stored there. Boom. So a new property in the desk called knob material, and it's unnamed. Just there and there it is. Hit apply, hit OK. Now I need to take the material of these and apply them to knob materials. So I'm going to grab all these. Actually, I only have to grab one. Knob material is the parameter knob material. click out. And I do have to do that on all of them. Okay, so those have their material is tied to the knob material. That's the nested part. So this subfamily has a property called knob material, which is then tied to the property in this file, the desk, called knob material. So that's your nested parameter. Now the next thing I want to do is go up to this property up here, the desktop material here. And this I'm going to change to be by category. So I'm just going to switch over here to say by category instead of cherry. That frees it up. Okay, hit apply and hit OK. I think I'm ready to test it out in a project. So let's save it. And let's close off all our extra windows and let's go back to our project. Here's our project, right? So let's go to here and load into project 1, hit OK. Okay, and there's our new one. Use my space bar to rotate it around and click out. Escape, escape. So that's the original. There's the new one. So the new one now should have knob type, knob material, and able to change the desktop material. So let's give it a shot. Pick on here. And knob material is, let's just pick something in here. That's going to have some color. Who cares? Earth. Click out so you can see there's my material there. Now my knob type, click on here. Did I make it a type property by mistake? Oh yes, I did. Look, it's showing up in here under type properties. Now the only problem with that is if I copy this with my control button, if I pick on here and I go to here and I change my knob type to be type 1, it'll change all of them. See that? Just changed all those knobs. Sorry for the zoom. Okay, so I don't want that, so I got to do a little fix. So I'm going to pick on here, edit the family, go back inside. And my problem here is that when I went in to create my knob type here, okay, I'm going to modify that, and I made it type. It needs to be instance. Knob type, parameter furniture, and I'm going to group it under graphics instead. Hit OK, apply, OK, save it. And load it back into my project 1, overwrite everything. Now what happens now is first I can pick on here and I can change my knob type to be knob type 1 just for that one desk. See, this one has, so this one has the knob 2, this one has knob 1, and then I can also now change my desktop material individually. Oh, let's go back into here. Look, top material is also a type. Okay, let's fix that. The problem with the type is if I change this desktop material, it's going to change it on all the desks. I don't want that. I'm going to say edit family, go back to my properties in here, my parameters, find that top material here that was already in the file. And the problem with that one is it's a type. I want it to be instance, meaning I can change them individually, not all at once. Hit OK. That's an easy change. Hit apply. Hit OK. Save it. Load it into my project. Boom. Overwrite everything. Click it out. So now individually, I can change the knobs on this to be knob 1 or 2. Okay. I can also change the knob material here on that one desk to be, let's just do something here. For the fun of it, type in brick. Oh, there we go. Brick. Okay, so this one has brick material. with knob 1. This has some other material with knob 2. And then this one I can now, if I want to, I can change the top material, not pick the parameter, pick the material button, and then go in here and just pick maybe carpet. Click out, there it is. So you can now change the material of the top, the material of the knobs, and change the knobs, and you can go on and on. Now this should flex. Okay, if I pick on here and I change this to be the bigger one, okay, notice that it changed with it, right? So if I pick on here, as long as I aligned and locked these face-based knobs, okay, I can actually change this dimension to be anything I want. I can make the width be, 10 feet. Or I can make the depth be, 4 feet. Click out and hit OK. So those parameters are still going to work. I can option out my knob types, my knob material, and my material of my cover. And that's just an example of nesting properties and materials. So the knobs are individual families that are set separately, then loaded and face based onto here. Then we had to change them from a generic face-based family to be a category furniture, and then add a parameter in here called knob type and just assign it to furniture. And then it'll just show up in here. Everything you see on knob type here, it's going to show you anything in furniture. If you try to make it, this, it's going to try to put a desk for every knob. So you can see it's kind of weird, but it'll let you put, if there was a lamp or anything in here, it'll let you do it. It's geared towards knob 1 and 2. So any furniture type would then show up in here. And that is about it for material. I had